On July 23rd, the Israeli parliament adopted a declaration to annex the West Bank. In response to the adoption of the resolution on annexation, France announced its readiness to recognize the state of Palestine. President Emmanuel Macron confirmed that France, as the first G7 country, will take this step in September. This decision was sharply condemned by Israel and the US. Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, describing the situation in Gaza as catastrophic, also expressed support for the future recognition of a Palestinian state. However, unlike France, he considers establishing a ceasefire and consultations with allies a priority. The Arab-Israeli conflict, however, has much deeper roots.
First, let me say that the Arab-Israeli conflict is quite multi-layered and long-term, and it did not begin immediately with the creation of the State of Israel, that is, in 1948. It began at the start of the 20th century, when the disputed territories were under the British Mandate, which Britain had received as a result of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. During the British Mandate, Jewish enclaves were created in the Palestinian territories, and the influx of Jews into the region intensified, particularly in the 1930s, driven by fascist Germany's policies towards the Jews. Seeing that Great Britain, one could say, was unable to provide a proper solution to the problem, Great Britain referred the matter to the UN Security Council, where in 1947, the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 181, which decided on the creation of two states, that is, the joint coexistence of two states, which was followed by the creation of the State of Israel in 1948.
The First Arab-Israeli War began in 1948 as a result of the Palestinian armed struggle, whereas during the British Mandate, Palestinians often sold their lands to Jews. In the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel captured the Gaza Strip, which was returned to the Palestinian National Authority in 1993 under the Oslo Accords. In 2005, Hamas won the elections in Gaza, starting a new phase in the Palestinian struggle. As a result of the conflict between Hamas and Palestine's ruling party, Fatah, founded by Yasser Arafat, Gaza pursued an almost separate policy.
Regarding Hamas, I would like to note that in many academic circles, there is a view that Hamas was created with the permission of the State of Israel itself by the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt through a charitable organization in the Gaza Strip. The question arises, why did Israel allow the creation of Hamas? One can reason as follows: to ensure its reason for existence in the region, that is, to maintain the ideology of struggle, a counterbalancing force is needed, and in the region, the Hamas movement itself could serve as such a counterbalancing force.
According to the Orientalists' conviction, the Israeli Prime Minister's desire to hold on to power hinders the achievement of peace.
It is very important not to overlook the fact that Israel's current Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is facing very serious problems in maintaining his power. And during a state of war, as you know, there are no elections. And on a daily basis, we can witness demonstrations of many thousands in Israel where people demand the return of Israeli hostages. In my opinion, from Benjamin Netanyahu's point of view, the end of the conflict with the Palestinians with Hamas would create very serious problems regarding his ability to stay in power.
According to experts, Donald Trump's pursuit of the Nobel Peace Prize could contribute to the resolution of the conflict.
The end of the conflict can only be linked to the assumption that if U.S. President Donald Trump repeatedly declares his desire to win the Nobel Peace Prize, then to demonstrate his efforts, it is possible he will try to reach a certain agreement in this conflict. However, it is difficult to speak of its complete and final elimination because we see that, for example, the Oslo I and Oslo II Accords had a context of reconciliation which divided the Palestinian territories into different administrative jurisdictions. However, as we see, today we can observe that these agreements are not working because there is no clear will. And if there is a clear will, then everything can be resolved.
The deep roots of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the Israeli leadership's efforts to retain power hinder the establishment of peace. Attempts at international recognition and reconciliation, despite certain initiatives, are failing due to the lack of will to achieve peace. David Genjoyan, Levin Voskanyan, ReOpen Media.